looking around and finding what little things you can start with, and just maybe even make a brainstorm list first and say, okay, once a week or once a month, I'm going to implement something. And then, once I get comfortable with that, I'll implement another thing and just kind of go from there. I feel like it kind of gains momentum. Just, you find other ways and other things that you can do to do this where it's not that hard or scary, especially now. I feel like back then it was harder, although I do feel like, do they call it greenwashing, where they're like
Yeah.
saying they're green, but they're really not? There's more
Yeah.
of that now than there used to be.
Welcome to the Green Beauty Community Podcast, where we're making sustainable beauty the new standard. I'm your hostess, Jacquelyn Rodriguez, and in each episode, we dive deep into the world of eco-friendly beauty, sharing insights and tips and inspiring stories from industry leaders and innovators. Whether you're a beauty professional or enthusiast, join us as we explore how to make the beauty industry kinder to our planet without compromising on quality or style. Let's create a more beautiful world inside and out. Welcome back to the Green Beauty Community Podcast. I'm your hostess, Jacquelyn Rodriguez, and today I have Cortney Cox, the founder of BABE, which is Brilliance Advanced Beauty Education, and the Wax Bar. And I have had the pleasure of knowing you for, I guess, like a year and a half. I don't know. It's the time has gone by so quickly, but I love everything you're doing, and I can't wait to dive into more of that behind the scenes. So let us know, tell us who you are and what you're up to.
Thank you. Thank you again for having me. And yeah, it has been a quick year and a half, whatever it's been. And I'm so happy we got connected. So I am an esthetician for almost 24 years. I have a private practice where I do, which is the Wax Bar. I see clients as a solo provider. I do mostly waxing, lash lifts, and then I've also brought on targeted cryotherapy and this device called Flowpresso. But I also developed a company doing advanced continuing education for beauty professionals and massage therapists. And we work with different states for continuing education hours. So we are able to grant those on a lot of our classes. So yeah, then that's Brilliance Advanced Beauty Education.
I love it. And I love that you're bringing on totally different practices in your spa area, right? So the Wax Bar, you've got say that again. What is it? The two things that
Targeted cryotherapy.
targeted cryotherapy.
So cryotherapy is like the cold treatments. A lot of people go into maybe those chambers, where this is just like a handheld, almost like a spray tan gun or device. This is just a little handheld device used with CO2. So it can be mobile or it can be utilized, in a treatment room. Yeah, and it helps with a lot of different things, which is nice. So, yeah.
We're going to dive into that because I'm sure people want to know. And that's part of what I love to see is how unique spa owners get to really bring on these new types of services and products that help build their business. So we're going to dive into all of that. And then you did the amazing thing with BABE, which is so important because you have to have those continuing education credits, and to have it all in one place. Bravo. I love it.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, we try. My own state needed it, so we just kind of decided, well, if I'm going to do this for Illinois, then we might as well help other people. And we have a great team of educators that, bring their own niches, which is amazing because there's so much to learn, so.
Yeah. And it is one of those things that is really needed, and you really took the time to step up and make that happen. So we'll definitely have everything in the show notes so that anybody listening, if you need credits and you need a place to go, I know for sure that she's got tons of great education. And we did a full podcast that we'll link also here that you can go and listen to even more of that, because I think we dove deeper into that and everything that you're offering there. So
Yeah.
today I want to talk about sustainability. And, we're here on the Green Beauty Community Podcast, and we're really highlighting people who are taking that stance and implementing sustainable practices into their business. Could you tell us a little bit about like why sustainability is important to you?
I think for me, it has been a journey for a long time. Like, I think I have been on this journey probably 18 to 20 years. And I remember back then, people kind of looked at me like, I was a tree hugging hippie, which I mean, I am a little bit, but I just started seeing some information and started researching, and it is not easy to be in the grassroots of something, but when you see that something isn't right, it's like you cannot unsee it. So
Yeah.
um I knew that some of the chemicals, for instance, I was cleaning at work or cleaning my home with, were dangerous. They were messing with our hormones. They could be giving us lung cancer, like whatever, all kinds of different things. And so I started utilizing, just simple, clean, different concoctions that I needed to. At the time, a lot of it was like vinegar or baking soda based, or, just things that are more
Mhm.
natural, obviously. Now there's a lot more companies, but and I also around that same time started to become more minimalistic, which I know is very popular now, but I have been doing it for, like I said, almost 20 years. And yeah, I think that's what started me. I was doing it more personally, and of course, it just naturally kind of moved into my um, professional life as well, because how do you do one and not the other?
Yeah, I mean that's the basis of a lot of people that I've heard. So I think with interviewing so many people, I've seen like two sides of the coin. If we've been in it for a long time, it's been more personal and we've like started to incorporate it into our businesses because it wasn't that was never taught to me. I don't know about you, but it wasn't really taught on how to have cleaner ingredients, how to like minimize what you're using and the waste, and start to look at how the impact is for you and the environment. And then there's this whole other side that I've had the pleasure of interviewing as well, that they're like newer in the industry and they really have just it's kind of just been how they started, which I find so amazing and exciting that that's the direction we're going in. I think it's just fun to see that like that those two sides of like really having to bring that completely through because it's totally new to your business, and starting that way.
Yeah. I envy them starting that way, because change is difficult, and convincing clients, I mean, usually most people are on board, but just knowing you're trying different things, and sometimes it could be a little bumpy trying to find the right thing for you, whatever that is. So
Yeah. Well, and that's my next question is how was that transition for you regards to your clients? Like how did they take that transition?
most of them were supportive. I don't really feel like anybody outwardly was like anti. And for the most part, when it comes to waxing, it's not like I can, you have to still throw away things and disposables and stuff like that. But I try to minimize as much as I can on that regard. And so with safety, of course, in at top priority. But so I don't even know that my clients are extremely aware, because it's just something I've done for so long that I just don't even always make it part of the conversation, I guess.
Gotcha. So when you switched over or even now, is that a part of your culture? You said you don't make it a part of the conversation, but is it kind of tied to your brand, or has that just been something that has not been a forefront in your brand?
It really hasn't been too much of a forefront. I certainly could advertise it because I do the things, but yeah, no, I don't really make it part of my brand per se, which I know would probably be beneficial. A lot of people respect and or seek out companies that are doing that. Sometimes when I think of I don't do a whole lot of retail products and things like that because I'm primarily waxing. And so I feel like that comes more into play when you're talking about, like a hairstylist or someone that's doing facials or things like that. Because I'm actually utilizing very few products. So I do tell people in the conversation that I use as natural as I can. Unfortunately, sometimes there still are chemicals involved, but I try to pick the least aggressive ones out there, but still effective.
Yeah, well, and the fact is that our industry in whole is we've made strides, but there's still chemicals that we have to deal with. It's just we're choosing a better option that is less harmful to our systems and to the environment. And hopefully down the road, we're going to create such demand that the companies and the technology will be able to start to shift and get rid of some of those chemicals that, we haven't been able to yet.
Yeah, exactly. That would be great.
Yeah. Yeah, right?
Yeah.
So, what are some of the strategies that you're putting into place to be more minimalistic and, and still adhere to standards? Because we have to keep safety in mind, but there are some things that you're doing. So, if you wouldn't mind telling us, like, what are the things that you've been implementing?
Sure. So, since I do a lot of body waxing, I have switched over to some of the cleaner hard waxes. But I also, so then you're not using as many strips, which is made out of like resin or pellin or, paper of some kind. Um, I have switched to using instead of using sheets all the time. I've never been one who used like the hospital paper or whatever, the doctor's office paper, which I'm like, does that even do anything anyways besides just getting a bunch? Um, but I've used a wax mat for a very long time. So it's just instead of doing as much laundry that way, I still have to do some, but it's like a mat that you can sanitize in between clients. I opt to use a sanitation chemical that is, it's a chemical for sure, but it's a concentrate, so I'm not using wipes, and that way I use actually like reusable just like towels to wipe things with instead of paper towels. And also like bringing on some of these other services like the targeted cryotherapy.
Yeah.
There's very minimal, there's zero waste. And there is, the only thing you're purchasing past your investment of the machine is going to be like your CO2, which is just our natural gas. We're creating lots of it right now. Um, so there's literally no waste involved with that service. And same thing with my Flow Prezzo, which is a device that kind of does like lymphatic drainage. Again, the only thing I'm doing is putting them into the machine, and they experience it, but I just simply put a towel down under the on the pillow that they lay on. So there's very little, upkeep or things that I need to do in order to keep these things running without, no extra disposables or extra products involved, and just kind of keeping it simple. I also think sometimes even just having these niches, right? I have just a couple things that I do can be sustainable all by itself. We don't have to keep up with as much. We're not products aren't getting wasted. You don't have to be educated on 45,000 things, So I think about it like that too, is just simply mastering what you're doing and just really focusing on it. And that way you can think about things that make sense for you and where you want to go.
Yes, I could not have said it better. Like, niching down is, to me, a very holistic approach to it because, like you said, you've got just a few things that you're focused on, and then you don't have to learn all the things or have things in your space that are not being used up and that expire and then end up getting thrown away. I think when I started and when you started, like around the same time, right? Is
Mhm.
it was just like do everything, and when you do everything, we can't do anything really well, and
Yeah.
we also overwhelm the client. So, with your marketing and everything to the clients with these new services, like how has that been going for you?
It's been going really good. So the cryotherapy has become a little bit more popular in the area. Like I said, it's nice because, and that's a cool thing about this service. And this is one area that I struggled. Do I niche down on this service or do I just let it be? And I decided to just let it be. So what I like about it is I can take this one little machine and do several different things for people with it. It can help with pain and inflammation. It can help with permanent fat reduction. It can help with skin and scalp disorders that are inflammation based. So like eczema, acne, psoriasis. And there's no downtime, just it can do so many different things. So that I kind of kept it like a wide angle. But so just I think because I've been on my own for a long time, my clients trusted me. Now the other machine I have, the Flow Prezzo, it's a little bit it's a service that I've definitely had to educate people on it, because there's only literally 4 of them in my state, and I'm one of them. And the one of the other ones is someone that is a friend of mine that I'm like, you have to come try this. And she ended up falling in love with it and purchasing it for her beauty and wellness studio. So, but it is a really cool machine. It's from New Zealand, and there's actually kind of a lot of them closer to you on the East Coast, but
I'll look
just
into
for
it.
whatever reason in my area, there's not too many yet. But so it's not that new. It's just like kind of gaining momentum itself, right? And I think just teaching people about it has been a little bit of work, but I think what I've noticed is once people experience it, they come back and they want to do it more. So, and I think it's just one of those things that helps with like stress relief and sleep and all these other things that, our life is so busy, the whole society, so it really just kind of helps people slow down for a minute and um, take care of themselves, really.
And that's such a big piece that I think that as the beauty industry grows, like, is more and more important to like offer those types of services so that clients have a place to go that is safe and they can kind of let go and relax and just take some downtime away from all the hustle and bustle of life.
Yeah. And the other thing about both of these two particular treatments are they can help. I mean, I can't say that they're medically going to help someone, but they have medically helped people. They have shown that they can fix people's issues, but of course I can't say that because I'm not a doctor or whatever, but it's another option for people, which I'm not sure this is totally green, but it's kind of, right? I'm kind of wrapping it in that it's less invasive than other things that they may have to try, right? Surgeries or injections and things like that. So because like to me, I associate surgery is kind of like a huge deal, obviously. And I think of injections as like chemicals and stuff that is just not natural to my body. And so I'd prefer not to do that if I don't have to, you know.
Yeah. Well, it's another option to give people
Mhm.
options to maybe try before they go and make these huge, I mean, they're life-changing options to
Yeah.
make, whether it's injections or whether it is surgery. So having another option for people who just don't want to do those, and that is going to be like that healthier approach so that you're not having to do those other options, or at least
Mhm.
you tried something before, right?
Right. Yeah. I mean, for some people it is enough, and for others they still need to maybe go get it done, but maybe this will help them heal quicker, you know. Maybe they
Gotcha.
don't have to take as much medication or something like that. So, yeah,
Yeah.
it's just another opportunity.
So how has that affected your bottom line in your spa?
I find that doing like having less disposables and these things have, yes, the equipment costs a good amount of money, but once they are paid off, then there's no residual costs involved. I mean, other than the one machine requires it to be plugged in, okay, but so does the light. So as long,
Yeah.
it's not costing me more money. Um, so I think it has probably saved my company some significant money as opposed to doing services that have a lot of um, ongoing costs involved.
Yeah. Well, that makes a huge difference if you have add-ons. Like I teach in the academy all the time, like having these add-ons that really is only taking a little bit of extra time, and that the overhead of that add-on or that service is much lower cost so that you can take more profits once you have the machine or equipment paid off. And then there's other ones that, are not super expensive, but make the experience really impactful.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, not everything has to be very expensive. These two things happen to be a bit pricey, but I knew for myself that once they were done being paid for, that it didn't take very long to pay that off and or recoup the costs, I guess you could say. And I think anytime that you can keep your overhead as minimal as possible, and that is just it gives you more profit. It's also just less demand on you to have to be restocking things, and that's time consuming. I don't have to keep an inventory for either one of them really. So,
That's big because
yeah.
keeping inventory and having all of that time and energy spent towards inventory is one of the pieces that is very exhausting for salon owners, salon spa owners.
Yeah.
So being able to cut that in half or at all
Yeah.
is even
Yeah.
better.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So, what would you say to anyone thinking about, that's in your position and thinking about starting to switch over or bring in new services or just be minimalistic the way that you are?
I think a lot of people get overwhelmed, or maybe, I felt like at the time when I did it that everyone around me thought I was crazy. So if you're not surrounded by people that think like you, it can be challenging sometimes to be a trailblazer or whatever. But if this is what feels good to you, for me, like having a lot of things, physical items just is like anxiety for me, and so, but I didn't used to be like that. I mean, I certainly was not on the other side of the spectrum, but I feel like just slowly adapting into these things can be helpful. It can be as minimal as a thing as, instead of using wipes to disinfect, buy the concentrate, get a spray bottle and utilize it that way, or get one of these wax mats, and then you don't have to do nearly as much laundry, because I haven't found a single soul that I don't even mind laundry, but most people hate laundry. So, and
Yeah.
that can be a waste, all those sheets, and yeah.
Yeah.
So, and of course you have to replace them after time because they get worn or stained. And so I think I feel like back then we just we're just using like vinegar. I'm telling you, my husband be like, it smells like pickles in here. Like, no,
I
honey.
still use vinegar and baking soda to clean at home. Uh,
Yeah, I do too. It just depends
yeah,
what it is,
yeah.
but there are other options for
Mhm.
certain things that can be a little bit convenient, or just even cleaner laundry detergent. And in my opinion, I'm not necessarily someone who thinks that you should just go throw what you have away, because that's wasteful too. So
Yes.
just use it up and move on to something better. There's lots of opportunities, and you guys provide such great resources for people, that, I mean, really things that I haven't really even considered or thought about. Like, for instance, just swapping out, of course, this doesn't pertain to me because I'm not a hairstylist, but swapping out the faucet heads for, the shampoo bowl. And I'm like, oh my gosh, of all the places that I've worked in my career and stuff, I don't think anybody has done that I have seen. I'm like, that's so simple though.
Yeah.
And it can be so beneficial. So,
Well, and that's what I love that you're sharing, and that a lot of our, you know, salon owners, spa owners that come on, that they're sharing very easy, simple things to start switching over. But the impact that those small steps actually have is huge. And
yeah.
it's such a beautiful theme that we see over and over again, that it doesn't have to be all or nothing, and it doesn't have to be hard. It really can start with such simple steps.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think just maybe even also honing in on what you want to do, and another thing you can do too is, let's say you do decide to niche down, don't just throw your stuff away. Try to sell it on Marketplace, or,
Yeah,
give it a different home. There
yeah,
are like consignment shops or like marketplace kind of things on Facebook where people can buy and sell and trade. And then, someone else can utilize it, because I think sometimes we're like, oh, I'm not going to do that anymore, so I'm just going to get rid of it. Well, I mean, I donate or sell everything. I mean,
yeah,
unless it is truly garbage, I do not throw it away. But there is someone who may want that you aren't you using, any whatever you're not using, even if it's product. Sometimes people want product as long as it's not, you know, expired or something like that. So
yeah. And I mean, it's a win-win for everyone. You're getting a little bit of the money recouped. They're able to spend a little bit less on something that they were going to need to purchase or want to purchase anyway. And
yeah,
you're helping the environment by not just going and throwing that away in the dump. I do have to plug Diety.com because they also have an online platform for you, like their own marketplace that's all for beauty
yes,
professionals.
yeah.
So
Thank you
whether
for
it's
reminding me.
Facebook, yeah, of course.
Yeah, love Heidi.
Whether it's Diety or Facebook Market or eBay, whatever it is, there's so many tools out there that you can make a difference. And to your point, like I tell my clients day in and day out. So, my staff knows that we don't throw things away, that we will either donate it or sell it or whatever. But with my clients, I'm very transparent. And I think that that's what it takes this day and age, is just to be open and honest. The day of like selling your clients on a product that they don't need are gone in my book.
Yeah,
And that's why I sit down and I talk to my clients. Okay, like what do you actually have? And if you have a shampoo and a conditioner that is not horrible, that you like, that is doing the job, but maybe you're not in love with, use it. Or
yeah,
give it to your husband or your friend that it would be better suited for. Or if you're ready and you hate what you have, we can get you something new and you can give that away to someone or give it to a shelter or someone in need. So instead of just throwing everything away, like that is one of the simplest steps of being
yeah,
sustainable, is just
yeah,
to not throw it away. Be minimalistic. You don't need an entire dresser of products, or, you open the cabinet and you've got like 20 different shampoos, 20 different whatever. And by the time you go to use them, they're expired and you can't use them.
Yeah. I know I have a rule. So it's funny, a girlfriend of mine had bought myself and we have this other girlfriend, and she had bought us these beautiful hand lotions, and the two of them were talking about how much they love it. And I'm just like, I'll let you know, because I will absolutely not use something new until I finish what I already have, because I'm like, because then I'm going to love that, and then I'm going to use it, and then I'm not going to want to go back to this, or it's going to be expired or whatever. So I'm just always like, finish what you're using and then move on. Another thing too, and I think some people obviously know this, but not everyone, that like another really simple thing that I think people just toss is the towels. So animal shelters, it doesn't matter how bad they look, how stained they are, they don't care. They're just using them to clean. So people, instead of throwing them away, people will gladly accept those. And at least last I knew they would. So
No, I have donated to my animal shelter here. They'll take the towels, they'll take old sheets
yeah,
and old bedding. So anything that you have like that, they are happy to take. Because, I mean, like you said, they're just using it to clean or to keep, you know, animals warm, and they
yeah,
don't care what it looks like.
yeah, exactly. It doesn't
Yeah.
matter.
Yeah. And there's so many places. Like, I take a lot of my furniture that if I can't sell it on Marketplace, or sometimes I just don't have the energy to sell it on Marketplace, to be honest.
Yeah.
Um, so I will take it to my local upsell. What is it called? Oh, shoot.
I don't think I have this by me.
Hmm. It's a resale store.
Oh, like a
Habitat for
consignment.
Humanity.
Oh,
Habitat
yeah.
for Humanity. Yes. And I will turn it into them and they will sell it. And all the proceeds to that go to helping build homes for people in need. So,
It's a win-win.
exactly.
Yeah.
There's so
Going
many
for a good
options
cause.
out there.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because I know, I mean, my husband will kill me when he hears this, but he's always been one of those, like, just get rid of it. I don't care. Take it to the dump. And we've had to work through that and learn, like, there's so many other people that could use it, that
Yeah.
unless it's truly broken and it's something that you really can't use, because unfortunately there comes that time too, right, when it is
Yeah.
just completely broken. We really try to think outside of the box and give it new life, and
Yeah.
we use a lot of our stuff in the salon. We upcycle. So our dressers are, well, they're dressers that we have as stations, but
I
even
love that.
something, yeah, even something in one room, like, I want to redecorate because I love change. I redecorate all the time, but I move it from one room to the next, or maybe I just paint it, or I like will break away the frame and use it, you put a different frame on it, and it gives it new life, and it saves me money, and it also saves from having so much waste.
Yeah, I love that. And it's probably better quality than a lot of things that, when you're thrift shopping at some of these types of Habitat for Humanity or any of those kinds of places, sometimes you'll get some really quality, like furniture or something that compared to what's available now,
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
could be maybe needs a little love, or sometimes not even, and
Yeah.
you can repurpose it.
Exactly. And it's thinking outside of the box, because sometimes it is easier just to run into a store and buy what you need.
Yeah.
Um, but taking that time to just reinvent the wheel, well, not reinvent the wheel, but reinvent the way that you are going to bring a new piece into your space can
Mhm.
can be very unique and a statement piece. That's
Yeah.
what I've seen a lot of my pieces that I have upcycled. They're statement pieces because you can't get them anywhere else.
Oh, I love that. You're actually reminding me of, it's not exactly related, but I mean, we are creatives, right? And so I feel like if this might speak to the right person, but I recently saw a picture of someone selling, they had taken a piano, like a baby grand, and it
Yes.
was just the piano itself, and they made it like a bookshelf. It was beautiful. So clearly the piano had probably been past its prime, because I cannot imagine someone wanting to rip apart a piano. But how cool would that be if you had the space as like your retail shelves or something, as like it's a piano on its side, it was beautiful. Probably kind
Yeah.
of hard to imagine, but I was like, wow. And I can appreciate, converting something into something different. Just let the creativity go and you know, inspire.
Yeah. Well, actually, it's funny you said piano because one of my stylists at the salon, she actually has, it's not a baby grand, but it was like a stand-up piano.
Mhm.
And she's had it on the marketplace for free for a long, long time. But there's a lot of them on there. Right now, I guess
Yes.
people just don't want pianos. Um,
No.
so she's been looking at how she can convert it to do that very thing, is change it into something new and give it new life.
Yeah.
So she has seen all sorts of projects to use with the keys and with the rest of the piano. So
Cool.
whether it's a piano or anything else, there's always a way to give it new life. And that truly is the most sustainable way that we can start to think and to move towards, whether it's for home or for our business.
Absolutely. Yeah, I love that. Yeah,
Yeah.
and I've seen pictures of your space, and I guess I didn't even realize that the dressers are your stations, but I love that. It gives more character. I know that's not everyone's aesthetic appeal or whatever, but I think people appreciate some charm and some uniqueness, and just like, and of course the eco-friendly aspect of it. But
Yep.
it's not taking away, it's not being eco-friendly without, with taking away from, your beauty.
Exactly. Well, and that's one thing I hear all the time is like, can we really have an eco salon, but that's luxurious? And yes, yes, you can. There's so many different ways to do it. Not everything, because I'm not really into the eco chic, or not eco chic, yeah, I guess the eco chic, whatever that, or shabby chic. That's the word I was
Oh.
looking for. I- it's not my style or aesthetic. So for me, I like the luxury look. I just like it in a eco luxury.
Yeah.
So lots of greenery. I mean, you can see behind me, right? Like I have
Yeah.
greenery everywhere. I have unique pieces here and there, but it all depends on what's important to you. And I promise there is a way to make everything you want look very luxurious, but just with a sustainable mindset to it. And again, if that means that you have to get something new for certain pieces, like my mirrors in the salon are new. I could not find what I was looking for, at least to have enough for the different stations. So
Yeah.
for me, that was important. I invested there, but then the dressers were unique enough where I could upcycle those and make them look the way that I had envisioned. So there's like give and take to everything. It doesn't have to be all recycled stuff in your salon, and it doesn't all have to be brand new.
Yeah. I love that.
Yeah,
Nice mix of both.
exactly. Yeah. And it's whatever you envision, right? So I did want to, like, we're trying to keep these because I love talking with amazing humans like yourself. We're trying to keep these to about 30 minutes. And I wanted to ask you one last question before we get off. Like, where do you really see the future of beauty, the beauty industry and the education going in the next like few years?
Oh gosh. I mean, that's such a hard question, because I feel as if thinking 24 years ago, if I think it would be anywhere near where it is now, the answer is no. I do think I think in some regard, I think people are going back to more of a holistic and natural approach. I think more and more people are having medical problems, and whether it's like fertility or hormonal or it's allergies or whatever, but so many people are becoming so sensitive to so many things that I think the more and more people are becoming aware that they can change these things, because sometimes they've been taking medications or whatever for these things, and it's just not, maybe it works or it doesn't work, or it works for a while and then it doesn't work anymore. So I think more and more people are just kind of going back to like the grassroots and like what basics, not, just kind of doesn't have to be so complex, I guess, to be effective. So, I mean, I hope, I don't know, we'll see. But that's kind of what I feel like. And I think also in the education aspect, I think, yeah, people just learning to maybe kind of niche down and just focus on what they like and love, because I think a lot of people are doing so many things and they're overwhelmed and maybe they're burnt out, and they need to kind of just hone in a little bit on what they enjoy, and then,
Yeah.
yeah, kind of just master that and stick with it, and let that be their specialty.
I love that, and I agree. I think that the both of those are very important, and, I mean, to your point, like, 26 years ago when I started in this industry, there's no way you could have told me that we were gonna be headed this direction. Even a decade ago when I started my salon and really implemented everything, I couldn't have even dreamt of the direction we were going in now. So I think there's so much out there that we is untapped, but to your point, I think really looking at what is a healthier way of doing things and getting back to the basics, because the basics worked for so long until we up and changed it, and now getting back to the basics is going to be a really important stepping stone.
Yeah, I think so too.
I love it. Well, thank you so much for being on the podcast, for, sharing all of your knowledge and everything with us. Can you tell everybody where we can follow you to find all the amazing things you're doing?
Oh, thank you. And thank you for having me, of course. I hope this was helpful for someone, and like, just take the first step. It's not scary, just one little thing at a time. So my handle for the wax bar is at the wax bar Geneva. Um, for Instagram, and then for Brilliance Advanced Beauty Education, it's at Brilliance Advanced Beauty Ed, or on Instagram, and Brilliance Advanced Beauty Education on Facebook, and the website is brillianceadvancedbeautyeducation.com. So
Fantastic. And as always, I will have all of the links in the show notes to make it super easy for you to follow Cortney and, take that first step. And as I tell you every week, let us know. We're humans on the other side of this, and we love to be there to support you, to help you, to cheer you on. So if you are making changes that you felt you got from this episode, tag us, tag both of us, and tag Green Beauty Community, and let us know so that we can cheer you on for every amazing step that you're taking in your business to become more sustainable, for you, for your team, and for the earth. So thank you so much for watching, and we will see you next week. Thank you for tuning in to the Green Beauty Community Podcast. We're on a mission to make sustainable beauty the new standard, and we need your help to make it. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe to our podcast and share with your friends. Every listener helps spread our mission of sustainable beauty. Want to do more? Visit greenbeautycommunity.com to join our community, volunteer your skills, or to make a donation. Your support in any form helps us create a more beautiful and sustainable future for the beauty industry. And remember, together we can transform beauty for ourselves and for our planet. Until next time, stay green and stay gorgeous. This podcast was brought to you by a generous grant by InnerSense Organic Beauty.